We have reason to assume that Overwatch right now is in big trouble. Or more accurately, they are spiraling into a situation that can only be described as troublesome. At least that is my belief. To lead you to what I'm talking about, let me ask you a question. What do you think motivates a big portion of our player base to log into the game time and time again? There are probably a handful of things that you could list. New events and content in the form of limited time game modes, new patches introducing balance adjustments, and new permanent features. But next to that, we got something that I think players are not giving enough credit to. And that is, believe it or not, eSports. Now, of course, saying that eSports gets players to log into the game to play can be interpreted as a bit of stretching the truth. While it is not entirely inaccurate to say that a video game turned esport wants to reach a certain dynamic, which is that of watching eSports is supposed to make you want to play the game, and playing the game is supposed to make you want to watch the highest level of play, aka eSports. It is also factually correct to say that a lot of people watching eSports really don't play the game all that much themselves, and some of them don't even play the game at all. But there have been correlations between active players and the success of games as esports in a variety of titles. I mean, sure, an unsuccessful esports can still be a successful game, but an unsuccessful game will never be a successful esport. It should be rather obvious to us that professional play is supposed to keep communities engaged and interested in the game itself. So what is that big problem that we are facing? It is the end of the inaugural season of the Overwatch League. While there has been and there still is interest in lower tier competition such as contenders and the like, Overwatch League, thanks to heavy marketing pushes, very clearly sees the biggest viewer base, plus ult accounts forming tokens. But bottom line is that most people will always be interested in the highest level of play, so I don't believe that lower tier competition can substitute the Overwatch League. And based on anecdotal evidence, because apparently this entire video hinges exactly on that, the league does succeed in what it is trying to do. A lot of players have reported that the typical esports dynamic works for them, and it frustrates them to no end. The reason for that is something I've discussed in the past already. The difference between pro play and ladder play is simply too big. There is a very clear disconnect between the way the pros are playing the game, which is for all intents and purposes the right way, and what we are experiencing on ladder. And this goes way beyond the typical, well, these guys have the aim of a god and they are playing in coordinated teams. Pro play and even 6-stacking to a certain degree feel like an entirely different game compared to the usual solo queue ladder experience. And solo queue is simply the most popular way to play this game. So a lot of us are watching the league, we get excited over what we see, and we get an urge to want to play. We hop into the game, queue up for competitive, and we have an absolutely abysmal time playing thanks to a matchmaker that is seemingly made of RNG fairy dust and an environment in which nobody was ever taught how to play the bloody objective. There is Overwatch, and there is solo queue, and these things have only very little in common. Now, that frustration is not necessarily the biggest deal because we can simply go back to that fantasy of what we would like to participate in ourselves. We just keep watching esports, dreaming of the day that we too have a team that knows how to play this video game. But if that is gone, then there goes a lot of the motivation that many of the viewers had to log into the game in the first place. Sure, they got frustrated when playing, but now they don't have a reason to log in anymore. And if they do, they are still going to have an awful experience, just that there's no substitution for them. They can't just log out and keep watching the league because the league is on a break. But there's even more than that. You might have noticed that with the introduction of the Overwatch League, complaints about the game have gone down. And I know that does not seem to mean a heck of a lot when there are 20 new videos talking about how this game is dying every week anyway. But it is a trend that I observed on Twitch, YouTube, and even my own channel. The league made me feel more positive about the game as a whole, and that has a couple of reasons. For one, again, it fulfills the fantasy of what playing Overwatch is supposed to look like, but it also provides ideas when it comes to gameplay. Where previously, with Overwatch esports being rather scarce, everyone liked to point fingers at the esports scene saying that they are the root cause for terrible meta trends. The league, on the other hand, is adapting incredibly swiftly. We are seeing an unrivaled level of competition that keeps pushing the teams to come up with new and creative ways of overcoming map design and hero compositions. So even if we don't necessarily make use of that knowledge, it makes us feel like the game is not in as bad of a spot as we would otherwise think. And again, I know we are complaining a lot about hero balance, but we always have. And I dare argue that prior to the league's inception, it was much worse and much more hostile too. So really, it is my belief that the Overwatch League has a number of very positive effects on the game and its surrounding community. So having the first season end could mean that all the problems we have right now could be amplified. Hanzo and Brigitte have not been addressed in the most recent PTR update that introduces the freshly reworked Symmetra, making us assume that they won't be seeing any fixes and hope that we get blinded by new shiny things and simply stop complaining. On top of that, we will see what is essentially a new hero with a completely new way of playing in the name of Symmetra 3.0, and that at a time when the league is not there to give us ideas on how to play it and how to counter it. So again, that could lead to our perception of the game's balance being awful getting amplified. That means it's not just the fact that the league will be on a break, it's the chain reaction of things that will happen once that is the case. And I don't believe that the introduction of LFG and endorsements is really enough to make us forget of all the things that aggravate us about the game day in and day out. But hey, that's just my take on the whole thing. Do you agree that the Overwatch League suppresses a lot of complaints that we as a community have about the game? And does watching esports also motivate you to want to play the game? Even if I end up being completely wrong, I'd be interested to hear what you guys feel like about the current state of the game and the upcoming changes. But before we wrap the video up, a quick shout out in favor of our little project called Overwatch Platinum Brawl. Essentially, it is a league style competition that we are hosting over on our Discord, in which we get players from our community together to form teams and pit them against each other every week on Fridays and Saturdays. If you are between 1900 and 3100 SR, at least level 200, willing to take the competition seriously while accepting to play on EU servers, then consider checking out our Discord to join the competition. Don't forget to read the server rules. We can always, and I mean always, tell when somebody did not read them, so make sure you guys behave. If you want to watch the competition unfold rather than participating yourself, then check out my stream over on twitch.tv/Terios, where I commentate the matches. If you watch this video on launch, then chances are that I'm actually live right now. Heads up though, my internet is being very inconsistent, so if I disconnect or drop frames, well, you know why. At any rate, you can find all the links for all the things I just talked about down in the description below. I'm gonna call it a day now, so thank you everybody so much for watching. Don't forget to drop me a like on your way out if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you wanna see more, and I hope to see you all next time.